Your premier Ford dealership is located here in Cabarrus County, where more than 70 years in the business lends to an incredible experience for every customer, every time. Whether you're looking for the toughness of an F-150, the spirit of a Bronco, or the versatility of an Explorer, you'll find it all at Hilbish Ford, your truck destination. Come experience the Hilbish difference in Kannapolis, just a 10-minute drive from Charlotte Motor Speedway, or get started online at HilbishFord.com.
Hey, Dr. Dave, you dialed up some really good weather for us today.
Thank you. The humidity came back a little bit. It would have been nice yesterday, but we had a stiff breeze. But today there's no breeze, and the heat is in full swing, and should be that way through about Saturday with rain coming on Easter Sunday.
How about that? I know Ryan agrees with me, but we've been waiting on summer since like last September. So I know Ryan's happy to have this weather back.
Yeah, I know David's not, though. David's more of a fair weather guy.
I'm a cold weather man.
David's been hot all day today.
That's right. I wasn't, and then I got in the 77, drove it over here. So.
Yeah. What is that? 255.
That black
two windows down and 55 mile an hour.
That's right. That black leather seat been hanging out in the sun a little bit before I drove over here. I had to peel myself off.
You got those vent windows.
Yeah, the vent window. Mm-hmm.
Well, exit. Here I am again. I got exit 63 on the brain.
You were on exit 63. You were on exit 60 the other week. Now it's 65.
Episode 65, which is, by the way, exit 65, Old Beatty Ford Road.
We can't go no more.
Which is the best Kannapolis exit for the record.
It is.
In my opinion. But anyhow, episode 65, we're going to do another show and tell. But before we get to that, Dr. Dave mentioned the weather. The downtown's been buzzing. Got some baseball really cracking up. We had the Chicago White Sox game, whatever it is with the Winston-Salem team versus Kannapolis. We was talking off camera before we got started. Our friend Trevor Will, last time in the gold Roddy outfit. I think that's a mistake. I hate to see Trevor leave our team, but a lot of buzz going on downtown.
There is a lot going on. It's coming up Easter weekend, and the weather's going to be awesome, and there'll be a lot of people out taking Easter pictures and Easter sunrise services. First Baptist is having theirs there in the park beside the church downtown on Sunday morning, and I don't know what all's going on downtown on Saturday. I know we just had a run last Saturday. Is it car show this? No, it'd be next Saturday. Be the car show.
Yeah, and next week is auto fair too.
That's correct.
Speedway. So, not sure how that usually competes a little bit with the cruise in.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, you gonna have a booth there?
Planning on it. We'll see how kind of the next week goes. But yeah.
What is that? Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Be kind of cool. Kind of cool. What's been going on in your world, Rough Talk, Ryan?
And just picking up junk. more stuff coming in, and
I hear you.
Organizing and finding stuff that I've had for years and didn't realize. And,
I hear you.
It's all new again if you don't know you have it or forgot about having it.
Sure. Speaking of all new, and I'm not trying to get too personal, but are we on baby watch yet?
I mean, sort of. Been for a while, for months, but getting closer.
So if you have to go on any kind of hiatus, who's going to fill in?
David.
All right, cool. So we're auditioning you.
Okay.
As your audition.
There you go. How'd you?
Technically, I'm a distant cousin.
I knew that there had to be an angle.
I mean, if we're cousins, that means
we're cousins.
But we're different.
Cousins
we're different
somehow.
kind of cousins. We're on the other side.
We're marrying cousins.
True.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because I was this close to bringing the Crest family books.
Oh yeah,
Crest family big in Cabarrus County and Kannapolis, and I decided against it because it's 6 volumes of books about that thick. Probably I didn't want to go through all those.
Man, so here we are. We're going to do another show and tell episode. I know we did one, you and I, a few weeks back, and didn't get a lot of views. I think we got to push down a little bit harder. And, it's just you and I kind of testing out this new idea. By the way, David Steele, your idea to do the show and tell. Thank you. I really like
welcome.
it. And I'm going to throw this back out there. We're going to look at some things you've got. I've got a few things. We're going to have some fun reminiscing. But if someone within the sound of our voice watching the K-Town Connection happens to have some things y'all want to show and tell, hey, give us a call. We'll invite you on over too. But Ryan, I want to let you kick this thing off and let you start this little roundabout show and tell.
All right. Well, as y'all know, David Steele been a good friend of mine for since sixth grade. Been best friends
trying
since
to do the math.
Sixth grade. Yeah, I was going to give years, but I'm not going to do that.
Is that the last year you went to school?
Is
that when you graduated?
That was last year I went to school. Yeah, sixth grade. You don't need any more after that.
Your last name, Darling.
Yeah. So we've been best friends since then, and he filled in or came to our show with about passing of Earnhardt a few weeks ago on the 18th, and had a good show. We did. Steve Gant. And Steve Gant was with us as well. So figured we'd bring him back since this was his idea to do show and tells on our show. Figured we'd bring him back and let him show off some of the things he's collected through the years, and he's got this is just a drop in the bucket, some of the stuff that he has in his home, and he's got some really cool stuff. He's given me some really cool stuff through the years that he didn't have room for, and we've made room for it here. And so, David, what do you want to show off first?
I think I'm going to draw Chris's ire on here. I know last time you guys did the show and tell, Chris showed off the Oreo car. How he liked the blue around the three. Well, I decided to bring one of my favorite cars, and I know this is a hot take. I like this Peter Max car.
That's a great car.
Chris, I don't think you agree with me, though.
It's not my favorite. I mean, I like any Dale Earnhardt car, for the record. I mean, any of them I like. But, it's just probably of all the commemorative special paint schemes that he ran, probably my least favorite. And I see Ryan going over there to the...
Since you don't like it, we'll put
we're going to put it
right there front and center.
See it.
And at this time, by the way, for our show and tell, last time Ryan and I was kind of like trying to stick stuff up above. So I got my son, who's going to be our cameraman, who's going to give some close-up shots.
Is his title like detail production expert, or is it just cameraman?
Gopher.
I
don't know.
Go for this and go for that.
He's auditioning too, because one of these days it's going to be up to him to run the K-Town Connection. But everybody, you got to start somewhere, and he's not even at the bottom.
Him and his sister.
Yeah, he By the way, speaking of his sister, she is in New York City right now.
New York City.
Not a Mill Guy place at all.
No chance.
But she is having the time of her life. But
I've been to New York.
A bit late. You what?
I've been to New York.
I know.
You and Mr. Penny, J.C. Penny.
Yeah, that's right. Went to his office.
But anyway, he's gonna do some cameraman work. So yeah, let's talk about this Peter Max car.
It was after he ran it in the 2000 Winston, I kind of fell in love with it, and I begged my mother to get me one of these, and she was and at that time they were expensive.
Oh, yeah.
And she said, "No, I just can't do it. Not gonna do it." I'd forget about it for a week or two, and then I'd go bother her again. And sure enough, the following May for my birthday, got to unwrap this one. So
how about that?
It's got a nice.
So you got a year later.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. She was usually pretty good about keeping a secret. She probably had it for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
Had it hidden somewhere in the closet, and I was pretty good kid of not going around and snooping and trying to find the Christmas or birthday presents. So
I told David earlier, I have the action version like that in 124th, and of course this 118th, but I never saw one in the Winter Circle version. I'm sure Joe Farinella's got
he's got everything.
Say Joe's got everything.
He does.
Like
no question. But I don't know if Joe's got this though, since we're talking about the Peter Max car. This is from what I've understood, and this came from Jimmy, Jimmy Hooper here.
Oh, look at there.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Cool.
That's cool.
Back it says the man.
That has never been washed.
No, it never
Brand
been
new.
washed. Brand new. I have a feeling from I think Joe Farinella may have told us this, but I think this shirt would get a pretty penny on eBay.
Yeah,
it's
probably
brand new.
so.
I'm sure it would.
But no, pretty cool.
Don't throw it in the floor.
We're gonna throw it over there to LT.
As soon as you get dirt on it, it's worth
so
it.
speaking of that car though, since this is show and tell, and we're kind of reminiscing, do we remember the significance of the night that car ran?
I know, Ryan. Do you?
Like the bridge fell in?
Yeah, the bridge fell. I was there.
On the bridge?
No, thank God.
Rode the bridge
I walked over the bridge heading into the race, but sat right at the start-finish line, like literally at the start-finish line, about 3 or 4 rows up from the bottom. You know, back then the place was packed, and they didn't have that barrier. You would literally be at the bottom. And Chuck, tell me if you remember this, Dr. Dave. That was called Chicken Bone Alley because people would throw them chicken bones at you all day. But no, that was I hated Dale to not win that race. You know, happy.
What did he finish in?
Third, I believe.
Third.
Yeah, third, I believe.
I knew he ran well.
Junior won. He came in third.
That's right. Junior won.
Who did we say was Dale Jarrett?
Dale Jarrett had been leading and was running really good. And then they had that late caution. And in some documentaries after the fact, I think Tony Uri Sr. said that they had practiced and made some sort of special air pressure adjustment that they had planned to do if they got a late race caution. I can't talk today.
That.
They did, and you could watch him, Dale Jr., coming across the top side of turn 4, just closing the gap on Dale Jarrett, and won that thing going away. Pretty cool night.
Yeah.
Well, I think you probably would have been in the same boat as Dale because, you know, from what I understand, he didn't like the paint scheme either.
Yeah,
No,
They were going to put him in a tie-dye race suit, and he shut that down pretty quick.
I guarantee it.
He didn't like any car that had green on it.
Really?
So what would have been your favorite commemorative Dale Earnhardt paint scheme? You know, of all the ones he ran during the Winston, and obviously I know we talked about that Oreo one, and I like that one, but you know, just Winston.
You had the silver one, you had the Wheaties, you had
He ran the Taz one in that.
the Olympic car.
Taz
And
one
I was going to
in-
say, and the Olympic car. I really like the Olympic car.
You had the Bass Pro Shop car. You had the Wrangler throwback car. Then you had.
I think I really like the silver one, but I think I like that Wrangler one. You know, I just grew up, you know, a kid of the '80s. I love that Wrangler paint scheme. I can't talk today.
Hey, you want David to switch places?
Maybe too much sun drop. Too much sun drop.
No, you never have too much sun drop.
All right. Well, Ryan, let's see what you got in your box.
Well, I got a box of stuff here that they gave me down at Stroop Supply this week, actually, and there's several copies of this one paper here that from 1967 when Mr. Charlie Cannon was turning 75, and it was a Charles A. Cannon Appreciation Day, and there's all sorts of good stories in here about Mr. Cannon. Really, and there's a lot of stuff in here written from people of the town who would say, you know, what Mr. Cannon meant to them, what he's done for their family. Does talk a lot about how he's the one positive man leading the whole place, and you know, he always very approachable. I mean, all the stories that we've heard for years, right? I'm going to try to find something.
The A3, page 2.
Let's see. I'm gonna look for something while y'all keep talking. I read something in here the other day, and I wanted to make sure to repeat it on the show, but I'm gonna see if I can find it. Y'all can continue on, but this box is full of sanitary district, and I've only looked at these papers, the top few. The box is full of documents from when the sanitary district was formed. And
When was it formed? It went through 84 till we became a city.
So, well, let's just see here. Here's actually the vote tallies for when it was voted on for and against. 51% of estimated eligible voters registered. 87% of registered voters voted. 87% of
That's
voters.
a big
That's
turnout.
a good turnout.
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
61% voted in favor of issues. 1,009 vote margin. This was for water and sewer, fire equipment, and fire buildings, but I'm not sure. There's no date on it. I'm sure it's in here somewhere. Maybe like 1963 or something like that.
So roughly 20 years.
This. Territory and proposed sanitary district. Here's a map. Paper.
Has no date.
It has no date. The daily mistake struck again. I mean, there's no date on either page.
Isn't that something?
See here. It's the map is dated, thank goodness. January 25th, 1963. And this is interesting. The engineering firm is Alley, Williams, Carmen, and King, which is still located in downtown Kannapolis
today.
That they were located in Burlington at this point. So 1963.
About that.
And of course, Bradley Stroop's dad, Sam Stroop, was hugely instrumental in the community back then. Of course, the Stroop Vocational Building at A.L. Brown High School was named after him, and he was on the school board, and did a lot of things. Let's just say that. And here's a list of the precincts actually. So yeah, I mean that's probably one of the first actual votes in the city of Kannapolis for a city issue. Because if you think about it, there was no city government. I mean, people were voting on county commissioners and sheriffs and stuff like that, but nothing about a city issue because up until then, didn't really need it.
Mr. Cannon.
Mr. Cannon and
did everything.
Of course, he was still alive at this point.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm going to look in this paper and see if I can find what I wanted to.
I got a pretty good segue since you're going through independent stuff. I know, but both of you guys know this, and Chris hinted at it a little bit whenever I was here last time about being a Carolina fan. And not too horribly long ago, I was trying to track down an old Daily Tar Heel, an old newspaper from 1982. I'm trying to find one, and I ran across this glass here that was the story from the Carolina 1982 National Championship. Got a picture of Dean Smith there on the front of it, but it's got an article excerpt from it from the Daily Independent.
Oh,
yeah. So
how about that?
Yeah, it's got the Independent script down there at the bottom. And as soon as I saw that come across the screen, I'm like, well, that's got to come home. So, and I know Chris, you said you hadn't seen one of those, had you?
No, that was pretty cool.
I don't know if Ryan, when I first showed it to Ryan, I don't think Ryan had seen one either.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Did you find your story yet?
No.
Dang, I have to rough talk you, man.
I know what I'm looking for.
All right, but hey, I want to get our camera guy to zoom in on this jacket. David, tell us about that jacket hanging on the front of your desk right there.
So that actually was my dad's, Ted Steele. He worked in the sewing machine repair department over at the mill. And unfortunately, he passed away when I was only 3, and my mother passed away at the beginning of 2020, just before COVID hit. And unfortunately, you've got to do the clean out, and you never know what you might find. And I found that in the back of my mom's closet.
Yeah,
he had passed away in January of '90, and she passed away in January of 2020.
So after she died, you found that.
Mm-hmm. So that was just hanging out in her closet for 30 years.
Wow.
And it almost looks like he wore it once or twice. It's just been hanging in the closet.
Brand new. And Leighton, keep your camera rolling because I like things like that. We've got a little, it looks like a pocket protector over here, but from this same general era right here, Cannon Mills lunchbox. And I remember my mother having one similar. I don't know if it's the same color or a different one, but
had the green one.
The brand,
I remember
branding,
the green ones. I don't believe I ever saw a red one.
You just think about it. We've talked about some of the commemorative towels and some of the things. They give gifts to the employees and jackets like that. They were all about the branding their stuff, but they also took care of their people. It's just so cool to see stuff, and I'm just so glad that a lot of this stuff got kept for people like us to show off.
And I've got a funny story about Dad too. Ryan, I think you've heard this a few times. So, like I said, Dad worked in the sewing machine repair department, and inevitably, he would sit down for lunch every now and then, and he'd get called away, and he'd come back, and part of his lunch would be missing. He kept trying to figure out he never could figure out who was doing it. And Dad is, I got this honest. I love hot sauce. I can handle it, and Dad was the same way. So before his shift one day, he decided, I'm going to figure out who's doing this, and I'm going to fix them. And so he went up to Gary's, got him a barbecue sandwich, had him put hot sauce on it, and then he came home and put about a half a bottle of Texas Pete on it. And just fine for him. So he had arranged it to make sure that he got a service call on his lunch break that day. So he gets out on his workbench, he unfolds his paper wrapper and got a sandwich cut in half right there. And sure enough, Ted, you got a call. So Dad grabs his stuff and goes out. About 10 minutes later, he comes back. Half his sandwich is gone. So he just started eyeing the water fountain to see who may have taken his sandwich. And there was a guy named Willie. I don't know his last name, he said, but he said he saw Willie running back and forth to that water fountain probably every 5-10 minutes for the rest of the day. His lunch never got taken again.
Same thing happened to my mama, and she was having her dessert stolen out of her lunchbox, and so she decided to make a chocolate cake one day. Had some extra things in it. And,
I know where this is going.
And let's just say that person had a very rough rest of their shift.
Had a crappy day.
Had a crappy day, and her dessert never got stolen either anymore. So I think that was a lot of food thieves running around in
That's
that
meal
meal.
people justice right there.
So I did find what I was wanting is on the inside of the first page, but it wasn't in a named column. It was a part of a larger story. That's why I couldn't find it. Yeah, as you know, we've talked about, and Bill Cannon was on the show. We talked about it when Mr. Cannon saved the state from being foreclosed on, essentially, by New York bankers. But I did not know until I read this article that he also saved Rowan County in the same year. So in 1932, I'm just going to read this. Mr. Cannon was credited with another save that same year. The schools of North Carolina were under the county supervision at the time. In 1932, Rowan County was in desperate straits. The county treasurer informed Mr. Cannon that unless some firm paid its taxes in advance, the property taxes in advance, the county would be unable to pay its school teachers. Cannon Mills promptly paid the next year's taxes, and the school teachers got their paychecks on schedule.
How about that?
Wow.
That is incredible.
Remarkable.
I mean, once again, and there's something else I'm looking for in here too, written by a mill worker for what Mr. Cannon had done for their family, and I'm going to find it.
But that's pretty much on par with everything we've heard about Charles Cannon. Bringing in the best of the best teachers that he could. Whether former college professors or whatever, he always valued that world-class education here for Kannapolis City Schools. So that absolutely rings true.
That's correct. Dan Gray shared a lot of that with us.
And there's actually pictures in here. Dan Gray talked a lot about the New York Life meetings that he went to. There's all pictures from those meetings. And I looked to see if Dan Gray was in there.
Man, that is awesome.
But,
that is incredible.
But yeah, it's pretty neat.
I like that. Security, Bank, and Trust.
A lot of good advertising. But I'll find this other here because it's just a testament to what he meant to people and the things he did. But it's neat that at that time the whole town would have a day committed to him, and I guess the only other person that's ever had a day treated to them was Dale. And of course that leads to another David Steele story. He shared a little bit at the first episode he was on, but it's just another cool thing. I mean, y'all, I was joking with you on Facebook the other day about the book it competition because you're the more of the book nerd than me, of course, out of the two of us. But David won the book competition, and he got to meet Earnhardt in '93 on the stage in downtown Kannapolis, surrounded by thousands of people. So, I mean, I guess that's the only other day that's ever been.
It's interesting that you brought up like differences between you and I, and you talked about being a little more bookish. I've had the thought a lot in my past of how my life may have been different if Dad hadn't passed away. Would I have done band in school? Would I have been more of a car head? Because Ryan will be the first to admit I like classic cars, but I I can't make one run. I'm trying to get better at that. But I don't know, that thought creeps in my head every now and then for how would I be a different person if one small thing, what is it, the butterfly effect?
Right.
One little thing changes you, and if that hadn't happened, could have been completely different.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Well, speaking of, you mentioned Dale Brown. I see you got a Kannapolis hat over there. What else we got over there?
Yeah, that was Dad's too. Old corduroy hat. Those were big in the 80s, 90s. Then they kind of dropped off. You're starting to see a few of them pop back up now. But I brought me a nice A.L. Brown Wonders stadium cushion.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's the ones when you had the short pants on your leg would stick to it.
Yeah. It'd tear the skin off the back of your leg if it was hot enough. If you had a nice August football game. But so funny story about this one. I have another one at the house. At some point, Mom had a yard sale, and I helped her get stuff out and just in the yard, and inevitably that being A.L. Brown,
I helped at.
I mean, probably you've helped at every yard sale we've ever had. So, yes, I'm sure you were there.
You probably bought it.
I did leave with a whole load of stuff every time they had a yard sale.
Yeah, well, and it usually goes the same way if you ever have a yard
Yes.
sale. I end up with a load of stuff to take home. But ultimately, she didn't need them anymore and felt like getting rid of them, so she sold them. And, they went pretty quick. And that was probably 2010s, somewhere in there. I had graduated from high school and college. And like I mentioned earlier, Mom passed away at the beginning of 2020. And later on in the year, I got a text from Drew Marr with DM Properties. He and I used to go to church together. And he said, I've got something, I'm going to have one of my guys drop by your house. If you'll send me your address. And guy came, dropped something off, rung the doorbell and took off and opened the door, and there was just this package wrapped in white with a little card on it. And card said, I was walking through the depot and I saw these things, and I wanted to get them and keep them at the house and have them put them in my man cave. He said, and then I turned it over. And he said, I saw the name on the top of it. Because Mom was notorious for putting her name on something because, you weren't going to take her seat cushion. So, you can't really see it now because it's old and faded, but in Mom's handwriting, it's just got B. Steele. And he said,
I forgot
Becky
about
Steele.
that.
yeah, he said he made it a point to say these needed to come back home.
Well, man, Drew's the best. In fact,
He is. We had him.
Yeah.
I got my number one. Drew's number one. So thank you to Drew. We're going to throw that out there.
Yes, thank you.
And I couldn't let you be outdone since you're going to be over here,
Oh gosh.
representing A.L. Brown. And hey, I love A.L. Brown. They're good too. But do have to
At least it ain't Concord.
go Raiders.
Yeah,
Go Raiders.
That's true.
At least it's not Concord.
Yeah. So hey, we got to represent.
I'll
South
give him
Carolina.
that. I did find this other.
Was
right,
it inside
this
the
little,
first page again?
No, inside the back page.
Yeah.
So I'm really doing well here. This was written by a Sandra Davis. I'm not sure who that is, but this was just someone that lived in town. Said, Dear Mr. Cannon, my letter will be one of hundreds written to you today, but I assure you no one has benefited more by your generosity than I. You gave me my family when you gave my mother, the sole support of 6 children, a company house. You gave us health with free immunizations to diseases. We remember the $1 YMCA membership fee, the $1.60 diplomas, the free police protection, and the clean town we live in. Upon completion of high school, with your help, we were able to further our education. Number 1 sister teaches in Kannapolis. Number 2 sister is a registered nurse and studied at Cabarrus School of Nursing. I am number 3 and work in the Kannapolis East school system as a secretary. Number 1 brother is a senior in college, and number 3 sister is a junior at A.L. Brown. For this, I thank you. I mean, that's just a very basic letter, but it's very heartfelt because really, and I learned something in here also that Mr. Cannon did, and I didn't realize it. he gave, upon graduation at A.L. Brown High School, every senior graduating received a copy of the New Testament. Not know that. Mm-hmm. And so that's another testament to his contributions to our community for so long. But it was just a few things in there, and I want you to look through this too, because there's probably some stuff that y'all want to know about or whatever. But
sure, no doubt.
Speaking of nursing, that segues into another thing on your desk there. Your mom's, I'm not sure what you call that. Is it a cap?
Yeah. So whenever a nurse graduates, it's called a capping ceremony.
Yeah.
I'm sure Dr. Dave's wife is very familiar, being healthcare professional herself. But yeah, you would effectively earn your cap, and they would have a ceremony where they'd come in, and one of the older nurses would come and pin it in your hair so it didn't fall out. And that was Mom's, and I wanted to bring that, and she spent years working in the pediatric department at the hospital, and spent some time working for, at that time it was CMH Home Care. Well, the story I mentioned last time about her going to somebody's house and it ended up being a relative of Dale's. But then she started working at Cabarrus Pediatrics. And for the longest time, outside of maybe Dr. Tuttle, that was where parents took their kids.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Engstrom, Larrabee,
Dr. Carell,
Dr. Baker,
Bimbo.
Oh yeah, that's just pediatrics.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the
the
older.
Yeah, you had Dr. Carell. See, who else? Lockhart, Dr. Lockhart was there.
Yeah, and then you start about the time she started working, they started getting Steve O'Brien and Dave Douglas.
Brian's still there.
O'Brien's still there.
What year would that cap be from?
If I had to guess, she was born in 53. So
probably like
70, 73, 74.
Yeah, 73. Yeah.
Probably somewhere in there. And we all went to the doctor there. Mm-hmm. I know we've had classmates that we've gone to school with that whenever they call mom at one point just ended up being the person that answered the phones and doing triage and stuff like that. And she would say, "Thank you for calling Cabarrus Pediatrics. This is Becky." And they would just be, "Oh, thank I'm so glad it's Becky." Right. Becky knows what she's doing. Becky, mom came up in a generation where nursing was a little different.
It was.
She was not. She came up in that generation where the nurses weren't afraid to, maybe talk back to the doctor a little bit, because they're the one that's been that they've been in the ward all day seeing how that child has been doing, and the doctor came in for 5 minutes and
rough talk them.
That's just
exactly. She'd rough talk them.
That's just like Millie Hall. For Dr. Nance. Millie would diagnose you before Dr. Nance ever got in to see you.
Yeah. Well, like Bobby Dayvault being a pharmacist.
Correct.
He could diagnose people, and anytime we got sick, if we didn't call Becky at the pediatric clinic, Daddy call Bobby. Up to the very end, Daddy was trying to call Bobby.
That's what I would always do with Mom until she passed away.
Yeah.
Something's going on. I'm gonna call Mom first, and then she'll, if she says, "Well, you probably need to go to the doctor." Oh, okay. But
and his mom is on the big timeline down there in the hospital in the big hallway, connector hallway. His mom's picture is up on there.
She was so proud.
She was a great lady.
Whenever she's in the hospital.
Yeah, I know she was.
They transfer her from the ED to a room, and to get from the ED, you have to take that connector, and she would come out of that door, and she would be on that hospital gurney, and she would make whoever was transferring her that day stop.
Check on her picture.
She just point up to the wall.
Dust it off.
That's me.
That's her. Yeah.
That's her.
I love it.
That's her.
Love it.
Proud moment.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And she lived right there at the Whataburger and Midway forever. It's where you grew up on Boss Street, and you knew all the people that lived around there. Tons of great people. You lived right down on the other side of Walker, And that area was a very different area at that point in time, and it's went through some bad times, it's went through some good times, but one of the good eras of time was the Taylor Garden Center. That's what it was when you and I were growing up, and y'all were good friends with them. Yeah, and you were able to get something very special from that place.
Yeah.
Right?
So after Dad passed, Mom was pretty good about having good male role models around for me. I was in the scouting program, and had men at church who would be more than happy to kind of help guide me through early parts of life. And we met Harry Margaret Taylor whenever we started going to Midway United Methodist, and Harry kind of became a grandfather type for me. And I'll never forget, I was telling Chris a little bit before we got going. So Margaret, she actually had a little gift shop next to Taylor's. It was called Marcell's, and it's a mix of her first name and her maiden name, because her maiden name was Sell, and so she just slammed them together, and Margaret Sells ended up becoming Marcell's. And so we would go there, and Mom and Margaret would be sitting back talking while customers were shopping or whatnot, and inevitably I would cut through the back and go over and see what Harry was up to, and taught me how to use the cash register, and let me give back change to folks. And I'll never forget the one time I did it, and like you said, I like to think myself a pretty book smart kid. Knew how much change I needed to give, so I counted it out and I handed it to him. And Harry said, "No, you don't do that." And I looked at him and I was like, "I counted right." That's right. He said, "No. What Harry always had you do is he would count up to, let's say your total was $2.60. He would then have you take the dime and say, okay, that's $2.70. Here's the nickel, that's $2.75. Here's the quarter, that's $3. And if you paid with a 10, here's your 3 ones and a 5, right, or 2 ones and a 5, and you count it up to whatever total they gave it to you." So he was really kind of instrumental. He would watch me when Mom was, they would have in the Methodist church, they'll have circle meetings. So Mom would go to circle, and Harry would take me down to Family Adventure Fun Park. You remember that?
Oh yeah,
that place. And so Harry passed away a fair amount of time before Margaret did. And, after Margaret passed, it was I want to say it was the year after Mom died. I think it was 2021. Went and was just helping them on their final sale day, because they knew they were going to have a fair amount of folks. And one of her kids said, "Why don't you go over into the other store and just see if there's anything over there that you take?" And I got my hands on, it was one of the old grain scoops, because when you walked in that store, off to the left, you had the counter, and you just had the big grain and corn bins. And I asked them, I said, I know this might be something that you don't want to get rid of, because it has some significant meaning. You're thinking about how many people have touched this and gotten something to go home and grow and feed their family and sustain themselves and their lives. And they said, "Yeah, you're right. We don't have a lot of those, but if there's somebody that Harry would want to have one, like, it's you."
You can see all the paint is worn off the handle,
but it's still. Look at the quality of workmanship on it.
In perfect condition.
Make it like that anymore.
No. Yeah. And then next to that, I brought a little piece from Margaret's store.
I don't have that one.
You don't? Mm-mm. So are you other guys familiar with the Cat's Meow stuff?
Got a few of them behind you.
Oh yeah, you do. Those are the ones we were talking about earlier.
Pull it up if you need to.
Actually, let's
no kidding.
If we've got,
that's it.
If we've got Marcell's, we're just gonna,
there you go. Yeah, there's
we'll put Taylor's next to it. That's perfect. But if you ordered so many, you could get custom orders, and she had pretty much every notable building in Kannapolis you could think of. Obviously Taylor's and Marcell's. She had the old police station and the old Cannon building and A.O. Brown and
First Baptist
First Baptist, First
Pres.
Wesleyan, North Kannapolis,
First
Midway.
Pres, yeah.
I mean, if you picked a church, odds are she had one. So those were two very special folks in my life, and they've obviously gave a lot back to the Midway community and Kannapolis as a whole. And I wanted to make sure that we brought that stuff and was able to tell a little bit of their story
Fine
too.
family.
In fact, it's kind of ironic. Yesterday, I was digging through some stuff in another building and trying to organize some stuff, and found this ashtray that my pawpaw had, and it was in stuff that I quite frankly had forgotten about it. I'll get a picture of it here. Quite frankly, had forgotten about it, and I sent a picture of it to David, and David was like, "Oh my gosh, make sure you bring that to the show," because he was going to bring that scoop, and he's trying to figure out a way to get this from me, and I hasn't been cleaned up, so I don't know.
That's
There's
okay.
a lot of, looks like there's some nicotine on it.
Back when it
But,
was truly nicotine.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I wouldn't make you hold out for it, but there you go.
Good gesture. Good move. Good and went to a better home.
Well, I'd like to think that that's part of Ryan's decision. He understands that it's going to go to our house and be cherished and have a special place.
Yeah, I know it'll be in a good spot down there. Once you get it cleaned up,
Oh, that's
don't take
easy.
the paint off. But
That's easy. Well, and it's
just, and if you notice, it's old enough. It doesn't have a full phone number.
no, it's just got 4-digit.
It's just the last 4 digits. So
Yeah.
So it's an
thank
old
you.
one. You're welcome.
I'll probably put that.
It's hard to see me giving away something.
I know.
Write that down.
I know. I still got the same amount of money in my wallet as I did whenever he gave it to me.
Yes.
So we'll take that as a victory.
Shocking, right?
You know what I'll probably do? I'm going to put this. Dad was a smoker,
Oh yeah.
and when Mom and Dad got married, they went to Myrtle Beach for their honeymoon, and they stayed at the Jamaican. And
The big trip.
Sure enough, whenever we were cleaning out, I found a nice little ashtray that Dad had stolen from the Jamaican on their honeymoon, and it's got a nice place in our living room. And so this
Gay Dolphin.
Gay
was
Dolphin.
also was a hot place also.
Oh yeah.
You're writing a Dear Chris note.
Yeah.
We over here
We're
exchanging
contemplating
notes.
something. But no, I wanted to. As we mentioned these earlier, these metal cards. It may have been before we went live. I don't remember. But these metal cards were from Burger King in 90s. Well, actually, they're 98 because there's a picture of him winning Daytona 500. Our good friend Eddie Nicholson brought this stuff by yesterday or day before.
Man.
And some Cannon Mills.
We need
pocket
to get
protector.
Eddie on
Eddie
the
Nicholson's a
show.
good man, and he does need to come on.
He does need to
does.
come on the show.
He's got stories for miles.
Oh, I
He
know.
does.
Phone company?
Phone company, and he's been
Yes.
in probably every house in Kannapolis.
Yep.
So, of course, David and I went to school with his daughter and son, I guess. He was a little bit younger, but yeah, he's a great guy. I mean, he's you never know when he's going to roll in here with more stuff. So, and there's a towel over there. I don't know. Did Leighton get a picture of that towel?
We'll have to hold
Probably
it
not.
out.
We can hold it
I
up.
have to hold it up because it's I've never seen a towel like
Bring
that.
the towel
actually.
over here. Oh, there's
There's two of them.
That the bottom one's one of the
1987.
the 87 centennial ones.
Yeah, it picks that camera actually looks good.
I brought it thinking that Ryan might have a little bit more info on it. He said he'd never seen it. The thing that Chris and I have surmised is that it probably was because it's got a safety award, that it was probably whatever section in the mill Dad worked in, they earned a safety award for that time period, and they did what they do best. They just made a commemorative towel and gave them out to everybody.
Why give a trophy? Just go make some towels.
Yeah. I mean, you can set a trophy on the shelf, but you could you could use a towel. That one you could could tell that one hadn't been used. But
And being that I worked in the bleachery and in the dye department, they probably used whatever dye they had left over that they didn't use a lot of to not waste anything. I
That
guarantee
was a pretty
it.
towel there.
I guarantee
I
it.
love the color of that.
you said
That's-
dye
That's
department.
blue 32.
Triggered a memory in my brain. So Dad was a twin. It was Ted and Fred. And Fred, Fred worked for GNS Metal for I think probably his whole career. He just retired maybe 5-6 years ago, somewhere in there.
Put him up for about 40 years.
Yeah. But there was a story that Mama used to tell about how Ted and Fred went to go play in the Dye Creek.
Oh yeah.
And they came back and she'd ask, "Have you been playing in the Dye Creek?" "No, Mama." It's like, "You're blue."
Yeah.
It's like, I think you might be fibbing a little
Yeah.
bit, son.
It's fine.
Fine.
It's food.
wash
It's just
off.
food color.
It'll wash off.
Thought
Yeah,
it was.
it'll wash off.
Food color.
Sure.
Well, she tried to wash them off, and at that point in time, she had them both in the tub, and she got one of them clean, and took him out of the tub and said, "Okay, go find your daddy." Papa's name was Hubert. Go find your daddy. And inevitably, he didn't find Daddy. He went over to the washing machine and dumped the whole bottle of soap suds over his head.
Oh,
Mama came
man.
out and found him and had to haul him back to the tub and clean him up
Oh,
again.
man.
Need a do-over.
Well,
I bet there was a little rough talk involved.
built-in
Oh
soap.
yeah. Well, I mean, she raised 4 boys over. They had a mill house, lived over on West C Street, just down past the Y. So
That's a lot. That was a lot. Let's see. I guess if we ran through everything.
I got one more
Oh, you got
little
a
thing,
little
and this
Indian.
is it's a little bit different from some of the stuff you guys normally talk about, and you all heard me mention Mom having good male role models in my life after Dad passed, and scouting was a great way for me to get into that, and scouting in Kannapolis or Cabarrus County, a lot of the times you went for camporees out at
Camp Barnhart.
Camp
Cabarrus.
Cabarrus. Yeah, Camp Cabarrus just past, where.
Back in those days when it truly was out in the woods, too, by the way.
Yes.
Not
Oh,
on
yeah.
the highway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
in the
no,
middle of
there
this.
wasn't a church or Kelswater
Housing
there. The
development.
only thing out there was Northwest Cabarrus, and it still was a good chunk of wooded area between.
You could
the two
actually
of
go
them.
out in have a fire out there, and just you were in the
Oh,
wilderness.
yeah. No doubt.
Oh, yeah.
I remember them well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how long he served as caretaker, but Hubert Powell was the caretaker out there for the longest time. And in stories I've heard, he actually was never a scout himself. But he went out there and took care of the place, and what I would argue was a real staple to anybody in the scouting community. And there was one day I happened to be just walking next to him, and he had bent down and picked up a piece of pine. There's countless pine trees out there, and he just pulled out his pocket knife and he just started whittling away, and made this little native chief. It's a neckerchief slide. So if you're not familiar, they got the little scarves that they go on the back, and you slide something up, almost like a bolo
For the Weeblos.
for the Weeblos. Yeah. And that was one thing that he just finished, and he just handed it over to me, and I've held on
thing's
to
cool.
it.
Cool.
And I had a friend of ours at one point just put a little paint job on it for me, and
That's perfect.
just thinking who knows how many of those he just picked up and decided to make some kid's day and whittle that around. And
I thought you were
Pass
going
it
to say it was Catawba Indian,
no,
just since
no,
who's trying.
yeah, worth a
Sounded
shot.
good, didn't it?
Worth a
Worth a
shot.
shot.
Yeah, that's right.
Worth a shot.
You got anything else over there in your pile of stuff?
I think that's it
Or did
for
you run
me.
out?
I think that's it for me. But I've enjoyed this, learned a lot, had a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
I think this has been a really good adventure today.
Yeah.
Go and tell.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys having an open ear.
Yeah.
Last time I was here, and trying to run with it a little bit and just see how it goes. And as always, thanks for letting me come back and spend some time with you guys. And
Absolutely.
share some stories of some special people in my life. And
a chair is always open.
Absolutely. And
Well, I appreciate that.
if Ryan has to go on the disabled list for a while, hey, we know who
I'm
to
still
call.
holding out. I mean, she won't make it. I'm still holding out hope she holds off till May 13th.
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
May
April,
13th.
Yeah, I know.
April 29th.
I know she won't
April
make it.
29th.
She won't make it, but I'm hoping.
April 29th would be the next best thing.
Yeah.
I mean, but we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. That's all we can do at this point. So hurry up and
You
wait.
just go ahead and put your seatbelt on.
Not that
Yeah,
far
that's right.
away.
You got
No,
your
it's
car
not.
seats ready?
They are in the van.
There
Actually.
you go. That's all you need. You got the
So-
car seats, a bed.
Yeah.
You'll be all right. Cool.
Somebody from work gave us brand new ones.
How about
Wow.
that?
Yeah,
Brand.
I mean,
That's
that's
a generous gift for sure.
oh yeah. Same person gave us both,
Wow.
so we were very appreciative of that. So
How
that's
about that?
Hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
For good ones.
yeah, for
No doubt.
they're nice.
No doubt. Well, you deserve it.
Correct.
Cool. Well, hey, this has been, like I said, a very informative, adventurous episode, not exit, episode 65, although this is where we exit. But, I've had a good time. Before we get out of here, I just want to throw it out there. I know we live in this little bubble of Kannapolis, but, we did have some of our fellow armed forces members, deploy overseas. So just want to think about them. I've been one of those guys before that was in a
Twice, two different
in a
conflicts,
combat
right?
zone about to go into an unknown place. So, I just want to make sure we think about them, because I have a feeling if we was to really do the math, there's probably somebody amongst those groups that's connected to Kannapolis in some way, somehow.
Probably.
Such a military history here in our town, people that have always answered that bell to serve. So just make sure we're thinking about them through this tough times that we're in. And other than that, Rough Talk Ryan, you got anything?
Good.
David Steele?
No, I'm good. I think we put a bow on it pretty
Yeah,
good.
ready to go.
Dr. Dave?
Wrap her up. We're good.
Glad you're back again.
Leighton Hughes, anything for you?
Somewhat.
Well, thank you to my son, Leighton Hughes. He's on spring break for school, and I have been working him in the yard. He's been our cameraman. I mean, whatever. He's been earning his keep and doing a good job at it. So we appreciate him. But
That
anyway,
needs a haircut.
he does need a haircut, but that's a different
Get
story.
rough talked on
That is
this.
a different story right there.
You want the chair? Call your mama.
My mama did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
How about that?
Shoot.
But anyway,
Are you throwing a bail or is that?
Yeah, I'm gonna find a way. Ryan's put so much stuff up here. It's kind of second guessing me throwing
How
that
can you
bail.
find anything? I'm surprised you found your seat.
I know. But anyway, David Steele, thank you for coming. Episode
thank you guys
number
for having
65, although this is where we exit number 65. Dr. Dave Irvin, Rough Talk Ryan, Dayvault, Chris Hughes, 65 in the books. Boys on Ebenezer signing out.
Uh-oh.
Over and out.
Man, it landed.
And landed on his
On
right
his
side.
right side.
How about that? Are we calling this phone or what? The Carolina Pickleball Club is a premier organization dedicated to providing a welcoming and competitive environment for pickleball players in Kannapolis. They are passionate about promoting the sport among seasoned players and beginners alike, offering skill-based competitions that challenge and inspire. Go visit our friends at the Carolina Pickleball Club, 724 Chipola Street in Kannapolis, and tell them the Rough Talk cousins at the K-Town Connection sent you.